Yo! Really, Kiwi? Twice in a row? You're kinda looking a little sus right now, you know? Yeah, trust me. I know. Especially with my wall being filled with pictures of my family, it is kind of a difficult topic to talk about. But after my last upload of talking about the latest hit rom-com anime, The Shiunji Family, plus me spending all of my time reading all of the comments, some stood out more than the rest. For example, there are people who gave me hate comments, people who completely misunderstood my point, people who think I'm either a twink or 270 pounds, but then we also got people defending weird behavior.
I'm not upset with y'all because I know you're mentally ill, which is why one day I'm going to open up a hospital.
Now let me just say, I think age gaps are fine. My bestie is dating a man who is like 10 years older than her, and they're a really sweet couple who's made for each other. But in the context of that video, the age gap that I'm talking about is between someone who is 17 and 14. That's kind of questionable to say the least. Yeah, she turns 15 later on, which you can argue is now fine or whatever. But again, 21 and 24 is a different story to 14 and 17. I didn't think I needed to explain that. And the way they defend it by bringing up societal norms and how it forces us to think a certain way is kind of... Actually, that's kind of funny. Society. But that's what caught my attention the most. I've seen multiple people defending the state of incest in this anime by saying that they are step siblings, which automatically discards all the problems they would have if they were blood related. And I find it kind of interesting because yes, I can see how people would think step siblings can romantically get involved with each other because they're biologically not siblings, but when you have been raised together since you were children, your family has made you both completely believe you are just a normal family, and then you guys start making out. Like that's wrong. That's wrong. Another day, another Westerner projecting their ideals on the products from other parts of the world. First of all, incest is not a norm in Asia. I don't know where you live, but the Asia I know is not filled with brother-sister fuckers. And second of all, don't you ever accuse me of being a Westerner. I am not. I'm Southeast Asian. I'm brown. I eat rice. I put seasoning in my food. I've also been hit by one of these things. By my mom. And we don't even get to call it child abuse. So stop it. I'm not white. Leave me alone! Anyways, now I'm gonna talk about how to make incest actually good. Now I can go in different routes. We can talk about light novels, we can talk about this anime I've been watching called Days with My Stepsister that has some actually good dialogues. But no, we've just talked about an anime, and I'm not going to read words. Instead, we are going to look at a good isekai story from a medium that I have yet to talk about in this channel, cultured mangas. Or sauces, if you will. And what better than to talk about the sauce that some of you guys noticed I put in the last video and wanted me to talk about, named Annoying Stepsister Needs to Be Scolded. God, I gotta touch crack. Meet our main characters Broey and Sissy. They absolutely hate each other. No matter what anybody does, they always find a way to find the worst of each other and fight about it every single chance that they get. Now the Imoto is the more talented sibling of the family, so she gets accused a lot of the time. But the problem comes whenever she opens her mouth to him, because that's when she becomes a full-on bitch. I'm talking about talking shit again, stealing his clothes, eating his food, yada yada yada, you get the point. And there are times when she just goes a little too far. And our boy, who is the older of the siblings, feels that it is in his duty to correct her ways. And he thought there is no better way to punish her than to...
That's a penis!
Okay, let's pause for a little bit. Before you start writing your essays, we're going to be listing out all the supposed problems that it has so far. 1 being the most obvious one, incest. 2, this is an act of a certain fruit that we are not going to talk about. We got it? Got it all? Okay, now keep these in mind going forward. Let's tackle the first one. See, these guys are step-siblings and have been together since they were children, and since the very beginning, they've already started on the worst terms. But as times go, just like how it works in real life, the more you spend time with someone, the longer you get to see more sides of them that you didn't know exist. And as a result, you naturally get closer, even though you still want to slit each other's throats. Now, to give the context for those who didn't watch the last video, I made fun of the writing in that anime because I thought it was weird and stupid how these siblings have a rom-com situation as non-blood related siblings. But the difference is, they weren't raised as step-siblings. They went through 15 to 18 years of childhood together, completely believing that they came out of the same womb, until their dad broke the news that they were all adopted. Wow. Who could have seen that coming? So tell me, do you really think that that romance makes sense? Please don't say yes, because trust me, it doesn't. Look, if my mom suddenly came out and told me that my 17-year-old sister, who I have been with for 17 years of my life as my sibling, turned out to be adopted, I would be shocked for like 5 hours and then continue farting on her face. Because your brain has been conditioned to see each other as nothing else but siblings. If you have spent your whole life believing in something and that something turns out to be not true, you're still going to think of it as true because that is all you have known for your life. Meanwhile, these guys, straight from the go, never thought of each other as siblings. They may call each other Oni-chan and Imotos and all that, but that don't mean jack shit when they're pretty much strangers who happen to live in the same house. They grew up constantly at each other's throat, pun intended, and you might argue, yeah, that's just like how siblings are. Yes, but they know they're not related. They might as well just be childhood friends, and it makes sense. And just one final example to really solidify my point. Eren and Mikasa are step-siblings, and people still love that couple anyway. Their situation is literally the same with them, except their parents didn't get eaten alive by titans. And I'm not doing this to say, oh, step-brothers and step-sisters should no, I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying, in the context of a story, it makes way more sense due to it being way more realistic. And ultimately, this doesn't affect too much of how I feel about this sauce as a whole. You know, we haven't talked about the story, we haven't talked about the art. I'm just trying to make a point on how to make a good setting for these kinds of romantic roots. You get it? Okay, so that's the first problem off the go. With that being said, this is one of my favorite sauces of all time. What I love the most about this series is the natural progression their relationship blossoms into. The first CGs came out in 2019, giving us a brief introduction to their dynamic as you think nothing much of it, other than two people hate f***ing each other. That is until a year later, the artist came out with a full story, giving us more context on them, making us learn that this isn't merely a relationship full of hate, but there are also undertones of love hiding underneath them. A year and a half after that, more CGs and a second part comes out, continuing the story of their love as they slowly start to heal the problems they have had in their earlier days and also making them learn more about each other's values. The third part came out just over a year ago and they're pretty much in love with each other. The best part about this series is how, at least to me, each new upload leaves you satisfied without leaving any cliffhangers. Instead, it just gets you excited to what kind of shenanigans and progress that they are going to go through next. For example, I absolutely despise the grapefruit genre. I think you can make a good story out of it, but the ones who romanticize it are straight up weird. It's just sad, depressing, and honestly kinda makes me want to give us a good old reset button. But this sauce does not give any of those vibes. It's more to the point where they just feel annoyed whenever they have the upper hand over the other. It's like watching two rivals fighting each other. Sometimes the guy is in the wrong, sometimes the girl is in the wrong. Sometimes the girl gets the win, sometimes the boy gets the win. Sometimes they're just both being dumb pieces of shits who can't get over their feelings and be honest with each other. And sometimes they set all those rivalries aside and just get completely wholesome, ultimately giving you the realization that these aren't sworn enemies that want the worst for each other. These are tsunderes who are in denial of their feelings but secretly show their affections in ways that nobody but us viewers can see, giving us more of the charms as you can tell they're not doing it for the validation but purely just because of how much they actually really like each other. This is not just how to make a good isekai romance, this is how you make a good romance, period. During the whole process, you know that despite all of the arguments, they actually really care about each other deep down. So whenever the opportunity arises, or one of them slips up and accidentally exposes some of their affection, you get a feeling of fulfillment that just fills your heart with joy. They don't feel like real siblings. They're just like childhood friends who are so close with each other that they might as well just be siblings. And guess what? Their parents just so happen to marry each other, making them actual siblings. But perhaps they are on their way from changing their relationship of being family to being family, if you know what I mean. So go and cross out that second problem out of here, because this sauce just gets it right every single beat. I don't care, fight me about it. I pretty much grew up on this sauce. I went from not thinking much of it when it first got released to liking it more and more every time I flip the pages and read new contents of it. And I don't mean each release, I mean every time I read a new page, I genuinely start liking the romance and the characters much more. The way the artist gives us their daily lives in the CGs just for us to get to know them better is so smart, because that's the way we can get more familiar to them and how they normally interact with each other. And then he drops a full story to show more significant progress and lets us enjoy the romance more and more after us already getting to know them from the CGs that we've read before that. I love it. It's like the CGs are bonus content or OVAs to elevate our experience and enjoy the actual stories when they actually come out. And this might just be my bias, but I love tsunderes. If they are done right. I understand when people say they hate tsunderes because all they get and all they have seen are the physical abusers who are somehow perceived as kawaii. These two, however, are tsunderes in the way that they both love each other but just don't know how to show it. And man, the romantic stories they make out of their Sun shenanigans are always so top tier that I deadass reread it from time to time whenever I want to inject some sweetness into my veins. It just does everything right. The drama, the emotions, the build-up, the blushes, the payoff, all of them are perfectly crafted and perfectly sets up the sequel that each time this artist drops a new edition, you just know that it's gonna be a banger. I can glaze this sauce over and over again, but then I'm gonna have to get into spoilers, and I don't want to ruin that experience for you guys. So just go and read it for yourselves, enjoy the experience as much as I did. You will not be disappointed. So I'm gonna give My Annoying Stepsister Needs to Be Scolded a very rare score of 10 out of 10. Yep, you don't see me do that often. Wait. I gave the Shiunji family a high score too, which is incest. And this Inseki sauce is also one of my goats, which is also incest. Hey guys, there's just a few things that I want to say. If you want the uncensored version of this video, then it is on my Patreon, so check that out if you want to. And also, I'm broke, like, as hell. So, with all that being said, what I'm trying to say with that is nothing. I'm just trying to prolong this video as long as possible so I get more watch time. And watch these videos too. And like, don't skip the ads so I can get more money. If this video gets 500 likes, I'll send feet pics.